When I was 10 years old, my family moved to the US from Ethiopia, and it was a whole new world for me. I loved everything about America, the opportunities, the culture, and the people. My dad was a successful businessman, so we lived a comfortable life, which made the transition even smoother. In high school, I met Xander, the guy who would eventually become my husband. We had a bit of an on-again, off-again relationship throughout those years. But when I turned 20, we decided to fully commit to each other and get married. I was over the moon with excitement, envisioning a future filled with love and happiness. However, there was one major hurdle: Xander's mother, Olive. She was not thrilled about our wedding plans. I couldn't help but suspect that her disapproval had something to do with my Ethiopian heritage. There were instances of microaggressions, those subtle comments and actions that left me feeling uneasy and unwelcome. But Xander was different. He didn't care about his mother's opinions. He loved me for who I was, not where I came from. Despite the tension with Olive, he stood by my side and made it clear that he was marrying me regardless of his mother's objections. Our wedding day was a mix of emotions. On one hand, I was thrilled to be marrying the man of my dreams, but on the other, I couldn't shake the feeling that Olive's disapproval was lingering in the background. I tried my best to focus on the love between Xander and me, pushing away any negative thoughts. In the days that followed, Olive's disapproval became more apparent. She made snide remarks about my culture and heritage, and it hurt. I wanted to have a good relationship with my mother-in-law, but it seemed like an impossible task. Xander tried to mediate, but it wasn't easy. He loved his mother, but he also loved me, and he didn't want to be caught in the middle. He assured me that he would talk to his mom, but things remained tense. As the months passed, Olive's microaggressions continued. She would make backhanded compliments, ask invasive questions about my background, and overall make me feel like an outsider in my own family. It took a toll on my mental and emotional well-being. Despite the challenges, Xander and I tried to build a life together. We got a place of our own and focused on our careers and plans. But Olive's disapproval and microaggressions still lingered, casting a shadow over our happiness. So one day, Olive's comments reached a boiling point, and I couldn't take it anymore. I had always tried to maintain my composure and be kind, but her hurtful words had finally pushed me over the edge. I shouted at her, something I had never done before. I let her know that I was tired of her microaggressions and how unwelcome she made me feel. It was a moment of release, and I didn't hold back. "You know, Olive, I've had enough of your constant comments. It's getting really old." "Oh, I'm just stating my opinion. No need to get so defensive." "Opinion? It feels more like you're constantly picking on me because of where I come from. I deserve respect just like anyone else." "I don't mean to offend you, but you're so sensitive about everything." "It's not about sensitivity, it's about respect. I'm your daughter-in-law, and I deserve to be treated with kindness and understanding." "Well, maybe if you tried to fit in a little more, I wouldn't have to say anything." "Fit in? I've been living here for years. This is my home too, and I don't have to change who I am to please you. You know, I didn't ask for you to marry my son. I didn't want you to marry my son. I had different plans for him." "And that's not fair. We love each other, and that should be all that matters to you. Maybe if you were from a more traditional background, I'd be more accepting." "You know what? I don't need your acceptance. I'm proud of my heritage, and I won't let you make me feel bad about it. Your ignorance is not my problem." "Well, maybe if you had married someone from your own culture, things would be easier." "That is not the point. We're married, and you need to accept that. Your constant disapproval is hurting us, and I won't let you ruin our happiness." "I never thought you'd speak to me like this. Why are you being so aggressive?" Maybe you never thought I'd stand up for myself, but I won't let anyone, not even you, tear me down. I'm done trying to please you. Fine. If that's how you feel, maybe we should just keep our distance. That's fine by me. I deserve to be surrounded by people who love and respect me for who I am. You're being so unreasonable. No, I'm just tired of being treated poorly. I'm your family now, and it's time you started treating me like it. If you can't do that, then maybe it's best if we keep our distance. Suit yourself. I will, thank you, and I hope you take some time to reflect on your behavior and how it's affecting your relationship with your son. I'm going to go now. Maybe when you're ready to treat me with respect, we can talk again. Until then, take care. After that, I left the room, feeling a mix of anger and sadness. It was hard to confront Olive like that, but I knew I had to stand up for myself. I knew my relationship with her was strained from that point on, perhaps beyond repair. But I knew I had made the right decision. I deserved to be treated with respect, and I wasn't going to tolerate any more microaggressions or hurtful comments. My focus was on my marriage and building a happy life with Xander, regardless of Olive's disapproval. When I told Xander about the altercation, he surprised me by taking my side. He supported me and told his mom that she needed to treat me with respect. But then, things took an even more dramatic turn. Olive said that if that's how her son felt, she'd disown him too. It was a shock to Xander, and I could see the hurt in his eyes. His mother wanted to disown him because he stood up for his wife. It was heartbreaking to witness, but at the same time, it made us both realize something important. We didn't need toxic people in our lives, even if they were family. We deserved love and respect, and if someone couldn't provide that, then they didn't deserve a place in our hearts. As much as it hurt to see Olive act this way, it was a wake-up call for Xander. He quickly realized that his mother's disapproval and negativity were holding him back from being truly happy. It was time for him to break free from the toxicity and create a life with me that was built on love and understanding. Months had passed since Olive cut us out of her life, and Xander was still deeply affected by his mother's decision. He missed her, despite all the hurtful things she had said and done. I wanted to help him find closure and maybe even a chance to reconcile, so I planned a dinner date at Xander's favorite restaurant. When we arrived at the restaurant and I gave my name, the maitre d' at the front desk puzzled and said my name was blacklisted. I was taken aback since we had been regular customers there. I asked to speak with the manager, hoping to sort out the confusion. To my surprise, the manager turned out to be Olive herself. During all those months of silence, turns out she had been busy acquiring more assets, and that included becoming a manager at this restaurant. Chili's, me and Xander's favorite place. And she knew that. Coincidence? I think not. Seeing her there, I couldn't help but feel a mix of shock and disbelief. How petty could she be? Well, what do we have here? I never thought I'd see the day when you two would show up at my restaurant. Olive didn't hesitate to tell us that we were not welcome at her restaurant. Xander couldn't contain his emotions and started shouting at his mother, causing a scene in the restaurant. I was torn between wanting to support Xander and trying to keep the situation from escalating further. Olive, we didn't come here to cause trouble. We just wanted to have a peaceful dinner. Peaceful dinner? With the likes of you? I don't think so. You know, it's quite amusing to see you both standing there begging to be let in after what you did. What are you talking about, Mom? We've always loved this place, and now you're telling us we're not welcome? Oh, it's quite simple. You see, when you decided to marry this person against my wishes, I had to make a choice. I couldn't have my son making such a terrible mistake, so I made sure to protect my business from your poor choices. You're so sick. It's disgusting. You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? You blacklisted us from your restaurant just to spite us. Oh, please, Xander. I'm just looking out for my reputation. I can't have people like you associating with my business. This is ridiculous, Mom. You're choosing your bigotry over your son. I thought you were better than this. You're the only one who made this choice, Xander. Don't blame me for your mistakes. At this point, practically everyone in the restaurant was looking at us. It was embarrassing to be thrown out of Chili's. Xander, it's not worth fighting with her. Let's go. You're right, Amara. She's not worth it. Yeah, go on. Get out of here. Nobody wants you here. So we left and started walking down the street, just wandering around. Xander was really upset, and I let him vent about how much he loved Chili's. Hey, it's going to be all right. Let it out. Tell me how you're feeling. It's just Chili's, you know? My dad and I used to go there all the time when I was younger. It was like our thing. We'd sit by the window, order our favorite dishes, and just talk about life. It was one of the few places where we could connect, you know? I know, babe. It sounds like such a special memory. I can't believe Olive dared to take that away from you. Yeah, and the worst part is that she knows how much it meant to me. She knows how much my dad meant to me. I can't believe she's doing all of this just because she doesn't like that I married you. It's not fair, Xander. You deserve so much better than this. I wish I could change things for you. I just hate that she's trying to ruin everything for us. I thought the family was supposed to support each other, not tear each other down. I know it's hard to understand why she's acting this way, but sometimes people let their prejudices cloud their judgment. We can't change that, but we can choose how we react to it. You're right. I don't want to waste any more time and energy on her. We have each other, and that's what matters. That's the spirit. We'll get through this together, and hey, I have a surprise that might cheer you up a bit. Oh, what is it? Well, turns out my dad owns the whole complex of buildings on this street, including Chili's. Wait, what? Why didn't you tell me this before? It was a recent business deal he made with some investors, and I wasn't sure how it would all work out. I was going to tell you once we had sat down in the restaurant. Something to celebrate, you know. Amara, that's amazing. I need to pass on the congrats to him. You can do that later, because right now we need to take care of your mom. What do you mean? I mean, my dad can handle this. He's not someone you want to mess with when it comes to business matters. He's going to sort Olive out, and we won't have to worry about her anymore. At that moment, I decided to call my dad and let him know what happened. I put him on speaker so Xander could hear too. I told my dad everything about how Olive treated us at Chili's. Dad wasn't too happy to hear all of this, to say the least. I knew that lady hated you, but kicking you out of the restaurant was low. I'm so sorry I didn't see the documents sooner. You know, I only recently got the title deeds to this complex. I didn't have enough time to check out all of the managers, but now that I know about this, I have to deal with it immediately. He told me not to worry one bit because he was going to sort Olive out and give her a serious earful. He even said, "Give me 30 minutes, and I'll be on my way to personally sort this issue out." Hearing my dad say that made me feel a mix of relief and concern. I knew he could handle it, but I also was hoping things wouldn't get too messy. My dad is not someone you want to mess with, especially when it comes to business matters, and my dad was a firm believer in fairness and compassion when it came to customers. So there we were, Xander and I, waiting nervously for my dad to arrive at Chili's while we hung around the area. We didn't know exactly what he had in mind, but we trusted that he would handle things the right way. Moments later, Dad arrived and we all walked in, following his confident stride, and I could already sense that something big was about to go down. He called out for Olive, loud enough for everyone in the restaurant to hear. I could feel the tension in the air as people turned to see what was happening. Olive stepped out, looking annoyed and probably thinking she could just dismiss my dad as she did with us. But Dad wasn't one to be dismissed so easily. He raised an eyebrow at her and said, "Olive, my dear, it seems you haven't been keeping up with the latest news. Did they forget to tell you about the new owner of the Third Blue Street complex? Olive looked taken aback, clearly not expecting this revelation. What are you talking about? Who is it? Dad smiled and revealed. Well, that would be me. I am the new owner, and I must say, I've been here for less than a week and already I'm hearing awful complaints about your management. Olive's face turned pale as she realized her mistake. I didn't know. Dad chuckled and said, Well, maybe if you had read your emails or paid attention to what's happening around you, you would have known. But it's too late to apologize now. I was so glad to see Olive get a taste of her own medicine. Xander stepped forward and said firmly, You had no right to treat us the way you did, especially Amara. We've always known that you've been a hateful person, but when it comes to owning an establishment, the first thing they should have taught you is that no one is discriminated against due to personal matters as a manager. You blatantly disregarded that, and I don't think you're the right fit for this place. Hakeem, wait. I'm sorry, I didn't know. Even if you didn't know that he owned the place, you should have put your bigotry aside and served as rightful customers. Please, let's talk about this in the back. No need. I'm sure these lovely people would like to know that the racist bigot who was managing Chili's is no longer part of the staff. Everyone began murmuring louder than they already were. Olive looked so embarrassed, and Xander and I were amused with ourselves, getting our justice after being abused for so long by her awful words. My dad kicked her out, threatening to get security to drag her out if she didn't want to cooperate. She was so ashamed she looked like she was about to cry, so she began her walk of shame outside. With Olive walking out, the atmosphere in the restaurant quickly changed. People started clapping and cheering as she walked out in shame, and I couldn't help but feel a sense of relief and satisfaction. Xander and I rushed over to my dad and hugged him tightly, thanking him for stepping in and helping us out. You're the best, Dad. Dad chuckled and patted both of us on the back. It was my pleasure, my dear. I couldn't stand seeing you two go through all that stress because of her. He then went to the kitchen to find out who was the next in command to appoint them as the acting manager, considering the drama that just happened. He returned to us and explained that he had some important work-related matters to attend to, as well as the task of formally dismissing Olive and handling the paperwork for the new acting manager. Okay, my work here is done for now. You two enjoy your meal. On the house! As we sat down at a table, I felt a mix of emotions. I was still processing everything that had happened, and I couldn't believe how quickly things had escalated. But I was also incredibly grateful to have my dad by our side, supporting us through it all.